Today you're gonna learn how I made $15,500 using a single application page. I had no funnel, I had not run a single ad, and I didn't even have a landing page. So how do you do that? My name is Seth Keep It Real. I built a $50 million company, turning my knowledge into a course. I churned dozens of clients into multimillionaires. And today, I show men of God how to do the same with their expertise. Now, because I lost everything in COVID, I had to start over. But time was not on my side because I had to move fast before I ran out of cash. I had received multiple attractive emails from headhunters hunting for a CEO and others for a chief marketing officer role, but I turned them down to build craftsmen instead. And I knew this was a risk because if I didn't build this successfully, I would lose everything. I was in a win or die mode, and I didn't have time to build out a funnel. I didn't have time to run ads or create a full landing page. So I asked myself one simple question. What is the fastest path to cash? And I decided to build one thing, a super simple landing page. That's it. And I'm going to walk you through exactly what I put into that landing page and how that landed me $15,500 within just a few weeks. The first part of the landing page right here with the big question, the purpose is to pique curiosity, which is why I asked the question, what if you could build wealth teaching what you love while changing lives? I'm not in a text conversation with this person. I'm not on a Zoom call with them. I'm not talking to them in person at a coffee shop. So I have to ask a question to get them to respond in their mind. If you ask a question, they're going to respond in their mind. You're already engaging. It's also, the point of this question is to polarize. It's to do one of two things, either to make you leave the page because you immediately realize that's not what I want, or to make you keep scrolling and reading the page because you realize that's exactly who I am. And then I start to narrow down to the kind of person I'm talking to. What I'm really doing here in this first paragraph is I am identifying my ideal client. Again, you do not want to reach everyone. Your goal is to not get as many people as possible to stay on the page. Your goal is to only get the kind of person who is very likely to find your service valuable to get them to stay on the page. And you do that by describing them. So notice what I do. As an entrepreneur, you stand at a crossroads. In other words, you're an entrepreneur. You want to build wealth, create financial security and freedom for you and love, but you also want far more than this. Yes. So this person's going, okay, yeah, that's me. I want to build wealth. I want financial security and freedom. Oh, but I want more. Where does that more come from? The fact that it is a man of faith. This is for men of faith. Men of faith, as a general rule, want to serve people. Their end goal isn't to become as rich as possible like that is for most of the world. Their end goal is, I'm going to live a life that has impact. And they see money as a means to an end, not the end. So yeah, they want to build wealth, but for a very different reason than someone who puts all their hope in this life, which would be a really sucky, hopeless way to live. And he goes on. I go on. You want to change lives in the process, invest in people, and share your faith. Now again, if this is a man of faith and at this point they're like, wait, that's not me. I really don't care about helping people. Then they're going to leave. And that's perfect. Because the more specific you can be to who your ideal client is, the better you can help them, the happier they're going to be, and the more you should be charging and can charge. You don't want someone going, oh, that's cool for like most people. You want them going, oh, wow, this is so exactly me right now. This is why there's multiple YouTube channels out there with just a few hundred or a few thousand views, and yet they're making millions because the only people who are watching their videos is their target market who have a very high chance of buying. That's much better than having 100,000 views, but almost no one who's watching would ever purchase whatever you're selling. Let us continue. And you definitely do not want to look back in 10 years regretting all the time you lost with your wife and kids. Aha! So you're talking to men. Got it. See, I'm so specific. I'm actually going for one of the sexes, and that is men, not women. Sorry, women, but if your husband, he wants to watch this, he can. Because your business consumed your life. Again, this is now implying, or this is targeting ambitious men who have a strong drive, men who want to do more, men who are not content with a 9-to-5, get my paycheck, go home, drink beer, watch a football game. That is not the kind of guy I'm looking for. I'm looking for a guy more like me who's like, I want more in this life. I don't want to live an ordinary life. I want to live an extraordinary life. Like life is too short on this side of heaven to waste it. Let's do the best best we can. Like, let's go for the hardest, even if it hurts like hell. Let's do this. Okay, moving on. Oh, and by the way, notice I already have a button here. The reason I do that, and let me scroll down. Notice it is above the fold. A fold means at the bottom of the page where you have to scroll. Okay, it's above that. You don't have to scroll at all to see this button. This is important because some people, they're going to go, oh, this is so me, and they immediately are going to click the button. They're not going to read the rest of the page. I don't want to lose the chance, especially if someone is busy, for someone applying if the button's not there. Some people don't need to read the rest of the page to know that this is for them. However, for the rest, I need to keep going. They're going to want more details, and most people do need more details. So the first part is identifying my ideal client and piquing curiosity. The second part is creating vision. Creating vision. Look, what if? Now, I'm not saying you're going to do this or even you can. I want them to be more engaged. I want them to come to the conclusion on their own. So I suggest it. It's the power of suggestion. When you suggest things, they're actually often more powerful than when you just outright state them. If you're overly confident, people become suspicious. They think, you're trying to manipulate me, aren't you? But when you suggest them, like, hey, what if you did this? It doesn't feel as forceful, and they're like, oh, I'm interested, and they scoot the chair closer. They lean in. Now they're more interested. What if you could take your area of expertise, and then I give a few examples. And by the way, these examples are all different on purpose to try to reach any kind of industry. I don't want any man of faith thinking, no, that's not me. My expertise would never sell. Wrong, okay? Wrong. Look, if you only had 1,000 people in this world who bought your course and you only sold it for $1,000, okay? It should be probably closer to 15, 20,000, but let's just say it's 1,000. You just made $1 million. And the chances that there aren't 1,000 people out of a world of 8.2 billion people in this world, the chances that there aren't at least 1,000 who would pay you money for knowledge you have, they don't, is so small, it's nothing. It's insignificant. What if you could take your area of expertise, sales, engineering, hiring, video production, marketing, cooking, real estate, no matter what it is. In other words, doesn't matter who you are, man. If you are a man and a man of faith and you want this, you can do this. And turn that knowledge into cash flow. Notice again, it's a question to engage. What if you could build it once and then sell it over and over and over again? That's the beauty of a course, is you don't have to keep rebuilding it. When you work for regular 9 to 5, you have to keep going in constantly every single day to get paid. With a course, they're paying you for your value. It's an asset. They're not paying you for your time. See the difference? It's an asset. An asset is a value apart from you. It's over here. It's like if this was an asset, it's over here. Okay, if I go work a regular 9 to 5, I'm the asset, which means I have to show up and physically do something to get paid. But if I have an asset that has value in and of itself, just like stocks, just like real estate, this asset over here can make cash even when I'm not doing something with it. While I'm sleeping, I can get someone who buys my training and I make money. While I'm taking my wife on a date, someone could buy and I make money. That is the beauty of building an asset. And instead of having to hire and manage dozens of staff or having to pour huge amounts of capital into a product that may or may not sell, you could make money selling your expertise on a specific topic. This is really important. I'm letting them know, especially for those with entrepreneurial experience, that you actually don't have to have dozens of staff. In fact, you don't have to have any staff if you don't want to, because there is a burden in having staff. As much as I love working with staff, it creates so much more time consumption, meetings, check-ins, HR issues, payment issues, questions, employee conflict, all of that comes with it. And that takes away from you being able to focus on your clients. Imagine doing this in the context of a community on fire to learn from you. Hint, hint, you don't just do this on your own. You get to be around other dudes on fire, on the same mission, who can help you. You can run together. There's something about community that men need today that is so lacking, especially with the world's just relentless attacks on healthy, humble, strong, protecting masculinity. Something that I am appalled at. Not masculinity, but at the attacks against it. Okay, now I move forward to the good news. Now, here's what's cool about this part. Sounds kind of arrogant. No, here's what's cool about my landing page, but I hope it helps you because it's really helped me. On this part, I'm removing false beliefs that create objections to them wanting to buy. Watch how I do this. No, you do not need to be a great teacher. Why did I say that? Because some people are going to think, oh, well, I have to be, an experienced college professor for this to work for me. Not true. Look at the next one. No, you do not need to know everything on your topic before starting. This is called imposter syndrome. I'm not the best person in the world at training dogs. I'm not the best person at marital counseling. I'm not the best person at getting shredded in a six-pack. So no one's going to pay me money. There's too many experts already. That's not true. Someone's going to connect with you that won't connect with all those experts because you have your own personality, your own gifts, and your own way of doing it. Plus, as a man of faith, you have the Spirit of God within you empowering you, which gives you a huge advantage. And so when someone listens to what you have to offer, chances are they're going to buy from you because you are different. You are you. And all you need to know is more than they do for them to find what you share valuable. It really is that simple. I mean, if it was true that you can't teach something until you're like an absolute expert, if you take that logic to its extreme, then every single job in the world would end. The only people who would be hired would be the very best person in every industry. And if that happened, the entire world would shut down. Economy would go flat. The world would explode. Like everything would fall. That doesn't even make sense. Okay, moving on. No, you do not need a ton of capital, any staff, or tech experience. I mentioned this earlier. You don't need staff. You don't have to be super techie. Why am I saying that? Because some people are going to go, I don't have a lot of experience with computers. Maybe it's an older dude. Maybe he's in his 60s or 70s. He hasn't spent his life, or he's like a blue collar worker. He hasn't spent a lot of time in front of a computer, and he thinks he has to be some tech geek in order to succeed. And I'm letting him know you don't have to be. Now, I know the reason why. It's because everything we give them is something they can apply immediately. But I don't have time to go into that right now. Look at this as well. You don't need a ton of capital. It is true. Most businesses require a minimum of $50,000 investment upfront just to get started, and you're not going to see a profit for the first 1 to 2 years. Not true with this. You don't have to buy any physical products. There is no cost of goods sold. There is no COGS, and your overhead is minimal. So your costs are super low, and what you get to do is focus on teaching what you're really good at, and man, that is freeing. Next, you do not need an impressive resume of achievements. Again, the false belief is this: well, I need to have like this amazing wall of trophies and medals. No, you don't. You do not. You don't even need to have a college education for this. What does that even mean anymore today? People are more educated from the internet than college. And no, you won't look like another guru with a course trying to make a quick buck. I will show you how to do this meaningfully in a way that can change your clients' lives forever. There's a stigma that rose up with people taking courses from other people, copying them, acting like it was their own, and then selling it and undercutting their competitors. It happened against us at Just One Dime all the time. We had hired lawyers to go after those people. But the bottom line is this: you don't have to worry about that. You know why? Because there will always be critics out there no matter what you do. And if you let them define what you do, then they've controlled you. They've defeated you. Guess what? The most powerful man who ever lived since the beginning of time was hated his entire life by most people. His name is Jesus. So if it wasn't too bad for Jesus, it doesn't have to be too bad for you. All you have to focus on is the people who do value what you say. You're there to serve them. Forget the rest. You don't have to worry about them. Let them go live their lives. They're overweight, wasting their life, complaining, whiny, and they need to get a life. All right. I have yet to meet a single person who did not have knowledge in a specific area. Yes, you can build this part-time on the side. This is another key one. Some guy's going to go, man, I don't have time, Seth. I got a full-time job, or I'm running a business. I got a wife. I got kids. You actually can build this part-time on the side. And I don't say this here, but you could literally do it just giving 1 hour a day, Monday through Saturday. Make Sunday your rest day. 1 hour a day. You can do this as you go. Yes, this is the highest paying part-time job in the world. And yes, you can serve people, make money, and live for Jesus all at the same time. Notice that I focused more in this section, the good news, which is unraveling their false beliefs. Notice I spent more of the time focusing on false beliefs than the opportunity. That's important. Why? Because today, in the world of the internet, there are so many fraudulent scammers out there. It's unbelievable. And so you have to differentiate yourself from them by addressing those false beliefs immediately and unraveling them one after the next. But I don't want to underemphasize this. You can serve people, you can make money, and you can live for Jesus. Like, are you serious? Like, if someone had told me that in my 20s, I'd be like, no, you can't. Like, I'm going to be a pastor. I'm going to be in ministry. I can't make a lot of money, and I shouldn't even want to. I had a screwed up view of how to invest the resources God has entrusted me with. No one taught me how to budget. No one taught me how to make wealth. No one taught me how to be wise with my dime and to grow it instead of just burying it like that foolish steward who was condemned as wicked for doing so. And it took me until my 30s to learn, you're as responsible for God, how you spend your dime, as you are in how you treat your wife, how you treat your spiritual gifts, how you raise your kids. It all matters. Okay, now I introduce myself. A lot of newbies, when they create landing pages, They make it all about themselves. Hey, look at me and how great I am. Yes, you do need to talk about your credibility. If you don't, why would anyone buy from you? So you do need to. But I begin with my biggest credibility. I'm a sinner saved by Jesus. Now, that doesn't make me credible to train people how to sell a course, but it does let people know where my heart is and who has changed me and who has redeemed me. And I want to resonate with people who that means a lot to. If anyone else it doesn't resonate with, that's fine. Go find someone else. I'm also the father of 4 adult children. I married my girlfriend 26 years ago so that I could date her for the rest of my life. I want them to know I have kids, I'm married. Let them know me a little bit. I mean, people need to know you if they're going to trust you and pay money to you to help them. And then I list my credibility. I've consulted for Amazon, BMW, Forever 21. My community that I had built had a combined revenue of over 100 million, probably a lot higher than that, but that's like minimum. I built a $50 million company off the valuation, off a single dime, and today use this experience to teach men like you who love Jesus how to take your knowledge, turn it into cash flow. So the whole point of this section is to let them know my qualifications. Now, I know what probably some of you are thinking is like, Seth, that sounds great, but I don't have a resume like this. Like, this is pretty extreme. Like, my goodness, you consulted for Amazon, BMW, you built a $50 million company. Most men can't claim that. That is true. That is true. But let me tell you something. I built that company when I didn't have those credibilities. I consulted for Amazon before I consulted for BMW Forever 21. Why did they reach out to me? You get what I'm saying? I was able to do that without the credibility. So think back before I had that. How did I get there? You can too. Again, instead of focusing on an impressive resume, just focus on what you've done well. People are not looking for a star, a celebrity. They're looking for someone who can genuinely help them. That's it. Imagine you're at war and there's bullets flying past your ears and you have to get in and break through this enemy line. You don't want to be with someone you can trust. You don't care about his resume. You just care that he knows what he's doing and that he'll be there to fight for you and protect you. That's more important. And when you have that kind of mindset and that kind of heart and you know your skill that you're going to teach them, you will do great. Okay, last but not least, what we'll do together. This whole area explains a high-level breakdown of exactly what I'll do with them. And I'm not going to go into all the details because I don't need to, but basically all you need to do on this part is explain just a general guide map on what you're going to take them through so they can like put their mind around it. Like, tell me exactly what this is. And then, are you ready for change? In this part, I really appeal to the heart. Remember, people buy your program not because of logic, and I know Russell Brunson says because of emotion, but I would say it's more because of value. Values that tie in with their emotion, their experience, and what they believe about God and life and the worldview in general. And that's what I'm doing here, is I'm looking for men who feel the way I have felt. Do you ever feel conflicted on the inside, wondering why you have this strong drive to succeed and yet an equally strong desire to serve Jesus, and you feel like you got to reconcile the two? Funny thing, there is no reconciliation needed because if you're in Christ, everything you do, you should do well. Paul said, whatever you do, do all to the glory of God. Everything you do. I don't care if you're pooping on the toilet, doing a chin-up, taking your wife on a date, running a race, eating a steak. Come on, everything for God's glory. He cares about every detail, which means how you handle your money matters. It's true, you can't take it with you when you die. It won't matter for you. It won't matter for eternity, but how you handle it will matter for eternity. So, and then I asked the question, do you want to create financial freedom and security for you and your family, but you're not sure how to do this in a way that honors God and is not greedy? Are you sick of building someone else's dream at your 9-to-5 or afraid to build your own business, only to realize years later that it consumed all your time, damaged your wife and kids with lost time you will never get back? This is the true story of so many entrepreneurs, where they lose their wife and she was put on the altar of sacrifice so they could build their business, which they built to serve their wife. It's a terrible conundrum. You don't have to do that. Building a course takes so much less upfront time, so much less maintenance time. And you get to spend more time helping people, investing in them while making amazing amounts of money, which I think is awesome. And then I close with this. As someone who has overcome these very things, after going through incredible loss and suffering, I have dedicated my life to helping men who follow Christ overcome these struggles and to start making money teaching what they love while changing lives. If you ever follow Just One Dime, you probably resonate with that phrase. But it still means so much to me because I know how important that is for men of God today. And then it's simple. I just end with a complimentary consultation. And that consultation is a sales call. I'm interviewing them to see if they're qualified. In total transparency, we've had many applications. Let me go back for a minute. We have had, to date, dozens of applications. I have not run a single ad. I have not built a single marketing funnel yet. I will eventually. And I haven't even made a full-on landing page. I mean, if you want to call this a landing page, sure, but it doesn't have the offer. It doesn't include all the details. It doesn't even include the price. It literally is just a booking page for a consultation. So how is that possible? And I don't have this massive following like I did at Just One Dime. I'm starting over, which is great. I have a different audience now. It's awesome. I love it. So how is this possible? Because I know who my target customer is. You don't need a strong following to make a lot of money. You don't need a huge YouTube channel to make millions. What you need is to know who your clients are, do an amazing job helping them succeed, and make money as you go. And man, that is the intersection of business and ministry. And that is why I love this business so much. The cool thing is, I don't even have that many hits on my website yet, and yet I still get applications every week. I hope this motivates the heck out of you. Just talking to people here and there, a few people hearing, someone heard from my Instagram, and all of a sudden the applications are coming in. And because of this, I was able to land 15,500 sales within just a few weeks. And that's with turning away multiple applicants who were not qualified. There was this king who had to take on another king. And the other king had a bigger army than the first king. And so the first king told his men, he said, guys, we're going to go fight him. And this is going to be hard, but we have to win. They're like, let's go. And so they get in these boats and they sail over to the other king's land. And when everyone gets out of their boat, the first king does something interesting. He burns all the boats. And the men say, what are you doing? We have to get back home. He's like, no. He said, now you're either going to win or you're going to die. There is no bridge behind us. The bridge is gone. So now we have to move forward to succeed. And I want to challenge you with this. If you're not willing to burn your bridges, then you don't fully believe you will succeed. And until you fully believe you will succeed, you won't.